You know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to bid you a very pleasant night, wherever you are in St. Kitts and Nevis, and or throughout the Caribbean region. To those of you who are in the Kittitian and Nevisian diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to zizonline.com, and we are normally joined as well by Sugar City St. Kitts FM.com. Dear brother Val T is normally in the house. So I know that some of you are in Africa, there are some of you in Asia, there are some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I also can say good afternoon, because one of such greetings is applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. Perhaps, what I should say, perhaps you are all locked down because of the border closures all over the world, although many of the borders are being opened up. And in the event you're joining me for the first time, I want to bid you welcome and trust and hope it won't be your last time. I know that we do have first-time listeners, and in the event you are a first-timer, then please be informed that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails. And if you are so minded to call, the numbers are 465-2555 and or 718-577-2916. And there's some of you who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. So you don't want to be heard, so you hide behind the keyboard. And we provide you access via our email platform. And if you're so minded to communicate via that platform, the address is ZIZ Straight Talk. That's one word, at gmail.com. That's ZIZSTRAIGHTTALK. That's a lowercase, at gmail.com. So we do have several media by which you can contact the program and take part in the program as well. For those of you who are asking as well, and just to remind you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's in the process continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. And my Straight Talk family, I always like to thank Almighty God for blessing me with this opportunity to join you, and yet another occasion. My name is Ian Patches Liburd. If I said that before, forgive me if I repeat it, just for the first time as in particular. And just for a little tidbit, in that many people are asking me about that election petition, and just to inform you that the lawyers for the respondents, I'm advised, requested and was granted leave to postpone that hearing, which was set for Friday as per the court calendar that was circulated, and it's now postponed for 1 week until this Friday coming. Now, Straight Talk family, tonight I want to, with your permission, I crave your indulgence and ask that we consider the notion of what I call the unavoidable discussion to wit the reopening of our borders. In spite of the latest information coming from the Minister of Health. On July 10th, the Minister of Health informed the nation of this happening.
Today, Friday 10th July 2020, St. Kitts and Nevis recorded one additional case of COVID-19. This brings the total number of confirmed cases to 17. The patient is a frontline healthcare worker who would have provided care to the previously announced case. Now that confirmation of COVID-19 has been received, the patient is subjected to mandatory isolation in order to limit the likelihood of transmission to others.
Yes, my Straight Dog family, recall that on March 18th or thereabout, the basis of the advice given given by our medical and health professionals, the borders of St. Kitts and Nevis were deemed closed to incoming passenger traffic. As I contemplated broaching this topic tonight, and I want to state from the onset, I'm not advancing the view, I'm not promoting the view that tomorrow or the day after or next week or the week after or next month or the month after or next year, for that matter, we should open the borders. But I believe that one day we must open the borders, so I think it's prudent to discuss it. And as I completed broaching the topic this evening, I thought of the reality. I thought of the reality that this issue can be contentious. I thought of the reality that this issue can be contentious and may likely introduce an argument depending upon one's particular perspective, be it political, social, environmental, and or economic for that matter. During my thought process, though, I remember going to church. Yes, I do go to church. And I remember going to church last All Year's night on the 31st of December 2019. And as the Zion Moravian church bell tolled at midnight to celebrate the dawn of a new year, 2020, I vividly recall my dear brother, friend, pastor, and superintendent, Reverend Hilton Joseph, bellowing out the words of the famous hymn written by Francis Havergal way back in 1973, or 1873, beg your pardon. And Reverend Joseph sang as per usual with rhythmic, melodic, and harmonic progression, I may add. And I recall joining in singing the words, which went something like this: standing at the portal of the opening year, words of comfort meet us, hushing every fear. The church lustily sang the refrain, for the year before us, what rich supplies? For the poor and needy, living streams shall rise. We sang the words with God's assurance, my Straight Dog family, that He will never fail us. He will not forsake. His eternal covenant He will never break. Most of us, I believe, left the Zion Moravian sanctuary resting in the promise, or on the promise, that with God we had nothing to fear, since God will be all sufficient for the incoming year 2020. And I believe the whole world predicted that 2020 would be a year of perfect vision. But nigh 3 months into the new year, COVID-19 was declared a pandemic, beg your pardon, on March the 11th, I think it was, 2020. And this is what the WHO Director, Dr. Ghebreyesus, had to say back then, my Straight Talk family.
In the past 2 weeks, the number of cases of COVID-19 outside China has increased 13-fold, and the number of affected countries has tripled. There are now more than 118,000 cases in 114 countries, and 4,291 people have lost their lives. Thousands more are fighting for their lives in hospitals. In the days and weeks ahead, we expect to see the number of cases, the number of deaths, and the number of affected countries climb even higher. WHO has been assessing this outbreak around the clock, and we're deeply concerned both by the alarming levels of spread and severity and by the alarming levels of inaction. We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Yes, and since that time, my Straight Talk family, fear of this virus has increased globally. So too has global suffering and death. Alarm bells are still being rung, loud and clear, right across the world. The current situation report as of 9th July 2020 was delivered by the indomitable Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, who had this to say as it relates to the global statistics as of that particular date. And Dr. Laws had this to say.
Based on information from the World Health Organization, today we have 12,102,328 confirmed cases globally, along with over 500,000 deaths.
And the CMO also provided the statistics as it relates to the Caribbean as of July the 3rd, when she also informed us accordingly of this, my Straight Talk family.
In the Caribbean region, we have 64,590 confirmed cases, and the good news is we have as many as 28,780 recoveries. The death toll today, so as at July the 3rd, is 1,340.
And the statistics as it relates to our own St. Kitts and Nevis are these.
Within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, to date we have tested as many as 651 persons, and as we are all aware, we now have a total of 17 positive cases, and of these only 2 are active. We have 15 who have recovered.
Yes, we have 2 active cases at the moment. And in the interim, though, meanwhile, requests from returning nationals for repatriation home have been approved by the NEOC and the HEOC, as confirmed as well by the CMO.
We are aware that returning nationals have been submitting requests for repatriation home. So at present, we have 60 returning nationals in government-designated sites, 32 in St. Kitts, 28 in Nevis.
Meantime, as well, the Ministry of Health and the COVID-19 Task Force, in collaboration with the Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine, have facilitated the return to St. Kitts of 123 offshore students currently attending that institution.
The Ministry of Health and the COVID-19 Task Force would have collaborated with the RUSVM, Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine, to facilitate the return of the first tranche of their students. And so on Wednesday, July 8th, 123 students arrived on island via charter. The task force held a series of meetings with key personnel from the International University to ensure that all established protocols were followed in the process.
Yes, and certain conditions precedent to the arrival were also established by Straight Talk family in terms of their consent to particular tests by Straight Talk family as well.
Now, the students consented to serial testing, and this, let me explain. This really includes a pre-arrival test, and so the students, while in Miami, they received a pre-arrival molecular COVID-19 test, and those students who tested negative, they were included on the charter to St. Kitts. A similar test was done upon arrival, and please note, another test will be conducted on day 14 of quarantine.
Yes, they were also sampled on arrival.
All students were sampled upon arrival, and their samples were processed at NextGen Lab, and we have received all the results from this exercise, and all results so far are negative. The students will be tested again on day 14 of quarantine. Those students with a negative RT-PCR test result on day 14 will be discharged from quarantine and allowed to integrate into society. And so, in other words, only those students who test negative will be officially released from quarantine and allowed to integrate into society.
So yes, they all are quarantined at the Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine's campus and heavily guarded by the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force, the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force, and the RSUVM's security, as well as confirmed by Straight Talk family.
The students are all quarantined at the 5 residential halls or dormitory buildings located on the RUSVM campus. The residential halls on the RUSVM campus are guarded by the members of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force, and the RUSVM security personnel.
Yes, and all the relevant costs, in case we are pondering, are borne by the university and the students.
Members of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force and the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense. The cost of accommodation for the 14-day period while on dorm on the RUSVM campus is covered totally by the Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine. Who is covering the cost for the COVID-19 molecular test for the students? Again, the cost for the COVID-19 molecular test will be covered totally by the Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine. The Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine is also covering the cost of the laundry for the students. Please note that the students themselves are covering the cost for their meals, groceries, and miscellaneous expenses.
So yes, as we are on the topic of students, though, albeit offshore students, a caller to Straight Talk last week raised an issue relating to our own students pursuing studies in the United States of America, is what she said.
Let me ask you a question. You all have more students up here in the Fed because it was said today that all the students, them, if the college not going to be open back up, they cannot stay up here and they will have to go back. Otherwise, they will be deported out. So I'm just letting you know that the Prime Minister have another case on his hand.
Well, Straight Talk investigated this matter, and I can report my findings as follows: that in order for international students in the United States of America to remain in the country for fall 2020, that's mid-August semester, they must take in-person classes at their schools. Students who remain in the country but take entirely online courses may face immigration consequences, including but not limited to the initiation of removal proceedings. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, made that statement. And this statement was confirmed by the international news, by Straight Talk family, and I think it was ABC.
If your college classes go solely online. Those are the new guidelines released by ICE today for international students studying in the U.S. The news comes as many universities plan to continue online learning through the fall because of the pandemic.
The modifications mean that anyone doing all online classes with a student visa must leave the country or transfer to a school with in-person learning. The modifications were posted on ICE's website, outlining the new rules for students on F1 or M1 visas, saying students may not take a full online course load and remain in the United States.
So a full online course, it must be, as I said earlier, you must take in-person classes. So this applies to holders of F1 and M1 non-immigrant visas, which allows non-immigrant students to pursue academic and vocational coursework, respectively. But getting back to the unavoidable discussion, my Straight Talk family, regarding the reopening of our borders, I believe that some of us have become complacent with respect to conforming to the requisite COVID-19 measures. This, I believe, has come about because since late April and for the entire months of May and June, we had no positive cases identified, and this is what the CMO described as a big gap, my Straight Talk family.
There was a big gap. We had a gap of about 76 days between the announcement of case 16 and case 15.
And it is important, though, in spite of the gap, to continue, and in particular with those recent cases, to continue to adhere to certain basic requirements. We are going to suppress, if we are going to suppress the spread of this second wave. And these guidelines are straightforward.
It's very important for us to continue wearing our face masks in public. That's going to protect you from the individual you're interacting with and protect the individual from yourself. Hand hygiene, using the hand sanitizers, washing your hands with soap and water, because it's going to prevent you infecting yourself with dirty hands. Physical distancing, ensure that you are at least 3 feet away from individuals. Social distancing, try and avoid mass gatherings. These are the measures that are going to reduce your risk and my risk of exposure to the virus.
Straightforward measures, my Straight Talk family. So I asked the questions tonight. What are some of the uncertainties and worries that you are those who know, or those who you know, I should say, have as you face or as we face the coming months of this year and beyond? What are some of the uncertainties and worries that you or those you know have as we face the decision to open our borders? These are two very important and critical questions I ask tonight, because we continue to enter the reopening phases of our country and our economy under a new norm in our daily lives. This is not the time to tear down. Instead, it is the time to rebuild our land of beauty and make it once again a place of bountiful peace, love, and tranquility. Our reopening phases have begun. Restaurants and other sectors have resumed business. Relaxation of other measures will soon allow for the resumption of the entire education system. Also, low-risk indoor and outdoor arts and entertainment. We must, however, be cautious as clinicians and Nevisians not to relax the safety measures that have led to so much progress against the virus. We must remain wary and continue to expand the precautions against other countries with surging infection rates, spreading the virus back to St. Kitts and Nevis, my straight dog family. How, you may ask? Because our economy is so dependent upon tourism. The manner in which Prime Minister Harris, his cabinet and frontline officials still continue to properly manage this crisis may in itself attract many visitors to our shores. So should we introduce, for example, some form of verifiable certification at our border points of entry? Is this what we were talking about, immunity passports, my straight dog family?
In some territories or jurisdictions, they are speaking to immunity passports. And so an immunity passport is really a document that states you are query risk-free. It's a risk-free certificate.
Yes, my straight dog family. Medical Chief of Staff, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, succinctly outlined our situation here in St. Kitts and Nevis. My interpretation of what Dr. Wilkinson and Dr. Laws have been saying in many ways and for many months during this crisis is that not only one's health will affect society, but political, social, and economic issues do impact on the individual's health as well. The stark reality of our situation in the Federation could not have been expressed in a better way, my straight dog family.
We are at a point now where we have to learn to live with COVID-19, and we need to look to see how we can mitigate against the risk. And because, as we keep saying, COVID-19 is not going away. We are going to have to learn to live with it. Although we had not had COVID-19 here for 70+ days, it was not a banner that we hang up on a wall saying that we are COVID-free. We are going to continue to have cases because as we continue to ease the relaxation and bring persons back, the easing comes with risk, and these are risks that we'll have to take on because the country cannot stay closed down forever, and we'll have to make sure that we employ the methods to protect ourselves. While we are fighting this virus, we also have to think about our economic survival. We actually have to survive this virus. We just can't build a wall around the country and keep our borders closed forever and survive the virus but die from economic hardship.
Survive the virus or die from economic hardship. The new norm brings with it uncertainties and worries that we will have to face in the coming months of 2020 and beyond. The new norm brings with it uncertainties and worries that we will have to face when we make the inevitable decision to reopen our borders. Until that time, my straight dog family, we'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails as we solicit your views on that final measure of social survival or economic death. I want to give credit for those who are doing a good job for keeping the country safe. But let me open the lines, my straight dog family. Let me hear your views on how we go forward to do the inevitable, to reopen fully our borders. Some countries have done that. in the Caribbean. Barbados today opened its borders and accepted the first landing of an aircraft direct from Canada, Air Canada, landed at the normal Manly airport. I think that's what it's called. Not saying we should do that, but something will be done sometime. Maybe next month, maybe the month after, maybe next year. Who knows? What do you think, my Street Dog family, is the question I'm going to ask. I'm going to get your views on the way forward. But as I open the lines, I always like to implore you, please respect yourselves, or rather respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerns. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things you do and or say will be beneficial to all concerned. And in all we do and or say, my Street Dog family, let's strive to build kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. Again, until that time, we solicit your views on that final measure. The stark reality is, the final measure will have to come, where we determine our social survival or our economic death. Caller, you're live.
Patches, good night.
Good night, my dear.
Are you opening tonight? This is Unity. Yes. Are you good? You there?
That's my worry. I'm
Hello?
here. Yes, the whole world.
Okay.
Yes.
Patches, let me ask you something about this case. These cases were Douglas then file. They file how much? The whole 8 or the 11 seats?
I think the file is for 6 seats. The cases are postponed until next week, Friday. Yeah.
I know, but just I know. I hear you say postpone, but that's why 6 cases, right? I mean, the other 2 they win. They file them.
That is my understanding. I can't confirm that. That's my understanding.
So they're okay with the 6, they're okay with the 2 seats where they win.
Yeah,
but the other 6 where they lose, that is the problem. So they don't want to lose nothing.
Okay, but let's get to the open the ball. Let's get on topic here right now. What do you think about reopening our borders?
Okay. What do you think about opening up the border?
So let's listen to your views.
Okay, not in and out, but let me answer. Well, Patches are really doing. I don't want to open it and then people flip in and whatever. But if you're going to open it, what you have to do, you take step by step. You don't want to know whole heap of people coming in one time. If you're going to operate from Canada once a month, New York once a month, Florida once a month. So if these people have to go in quarantine when they're out and next one come in, you just can't open it and let this whole heap of people coming in one time. Because I think it's enough room to hold so much people when they're coming into the country. So I'm going to have to do step by step. Once a month of flight until, you understand me, sir?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I got you loud and clear, my Street Dog family. As you go back to the lines, I'll call you live.
Yes, good evening, Honorable.
Good evening, my dear brother.
Well, what I want to say about the borders right now, it's kind of tight to open up. But we meeting with a little hardship now and again with finance and so on. And the government has tried their best to assist people in certain ways they can. I don't know where the government will find more money to keep the border much more longer closed. But you have to get some quick decision on the border with a lot of restriction. You cannot just, as you see the caller just said, just now that you only have 4 and 5 planes land at the same time. But at the same time, if you check them coming off and they don't make the standard, you put them back on the same plane. Because if you don't do that, we can overburden our facilities and we may run in a deeper problem and ways. But as Mr. Samuels and his team and the CMO and the doctor, all of them are doing a beautiful job. I can't find no better way to see how good they work. you know, because I think in the nation, in the Caribbean, they are the most outstanding people in the Caribbean right now, for the good effort and the good caution they take, especially Mr. Samuels. He always clear to his point. He don't pull punches, you know. So all I said, we have to open the borders at some time, but Patches, just let me be careful with it, because we don't want to sink more, and we don't got the facility to help. So God bless you all in any decision you all make. I with you all 100%.
Thank you very much. I have to open at some time, but be careful, as lest we be overwhelmed. Caller, you live.
Hello?
Yes, caller. You have a radio on. Could you turn your radio off, please, or move away?
Okay, darling. Okay, darling. Okay.
Please, yes, thank you. Are you there?
Yes, I'm calling from Tatola.
Tatola, I want the whole world to hear you, Tatola. What's on your mind? Yes, what's your views on the topic tonight?
Patches may want to talk with.
Yes, you're live on radio, so talking to Patches, yes.
Yeah, what I wanted to say, right, I just watch him, right? At Monday night and Thursday night, right? What I wanted to say, right? When Douglas Deming win and left Sean Richard one in there, nobody do not vote it. When Douglas then win back again and Hamilton farm with Sean, nobody say nothing about it. Now we can't hit it back to now. Here make confusion. Eh?
Yes, okay, got you loud and clear, my brother. So
yeah.
But that's Douglas, okay? That's Douglas. Thanks a lot for your input. How is it?
Yes, okay, darling, yeah.
Okay, sir. Right. Thanks a lot. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, you live.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Liburd. How are you?
I am peaceful, sir. Yourself?
Not bad at all, man.
That sounds like Valentine Linwall Thomas. I'm going to out you now.
Yes, indeed. You're using the cricket name. Linwall and Valentine, two great cricketers.
Yes, sir.
In the past. Minister, I call you minister because you'll always be a minister to me. What I think about the border, I will say this, Mr. Liburd. I think the measures that are put in place is not enforced enough at this moment. I think the authorities who are in charge of security have relaxed themselves very much so that you see a lot of wrong things is taking place in town in terms of mass, 6 feet, holding on, hugging, people hugging, hugging up, holding hands, doing all kind of things. I mean, I see it for myself over the weekend, and I think they need to clamp down again, go back like how they started. When they first started with this thing, they were very, very serious about it in enforcing the measures that was put in place. And I really think they need to go back in that situation, in that atmosphere. I think they're too relaxed right now. Now, we have lifted the curfew up to a certain point, which is good. But not because we lift the curfew up to a certain point, that means that we should not obey by the measures that are put in place. And I think the security officers and they become too relaxed, and they need to put forces back out there and make sure that we follow the rules and regulations that was set in place for us to follow. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your input. Yes, those are the measures. Yes, the social distancing, the wearing a mask and so on. But what about any measures for those who would be entering the Federation in the event we open the borders? What about that? Caller? Hello, caller? So.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening,
let me first help you with a little correction. You said Norman Manley. That is Jamaica.
Yeah, Barrow, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Grantley Adams.
So Grantley Adams. Oh my God, you're so right. You passed the test. You get an A+.
Yeah, I'm not in trouble for a long time, but I've been traveling all the time. So
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah,
Normal
so
man is
glad
Jamaica. You're so
anyhow,
great.
Patches, with the border opening, right? I mean, yes, you're going to stimulate a little economic influence in the country. But at the same time, if we who are here are not doing this social distancing and weighing of the mass, I mean, we could get a second wave and have it much more worse than the first. So what I think they need to do first is to clamp down on we who are here in St. Kitts. Make it mandatory that you wear a mask, even if you're going from point A to point B, because I've been in Boston several times, Patches, and people got their mask, but still that wait. If they go in the Rams, they put it on. But when they come out, it off. And then they want to congregate in small crowds with people. So, as Vita said earlier, something has to be put in place where you have some kind of mechanism with whether the police or some kind of security, you get a group like what you call the traffic wardens, round and round, and person without their mask on, whether you're in a store or in the public, hello, they be dealt with. That's my input. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice, sweet dog family. Let's go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Masai Garvey and Queen and Zingan in the spirit of Hamilton Jackson of St. Croix. A blessed, blessed evening, my beloved African brother. How are you, family of the Federation?
Peaceful, my brother, peaceful. You and yours?
Good, brother, good. All is well on this side, man. You know? So, my brother, I'm all for the borders to open, but, and that's a big but, brother, if things continue where they are at presently, brother, I would say in the next month, 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, the borders should be open up. But hear me, just for flights, limited flights in the Caribbean and out of Guyana. Just Guyana alone in South America. Just Guyana alone in South America. Limited flights. Caribbean region and Guyana in South America. Limited flights, beloved brother. Because, brother, can't bring in too many people at one time to overwhelm the health system that we have in St. Kitts Nevis, brother. Because James France, how many patients could be like the entire hospital? About maybe about 300-400 or less than that?
Well, there's a special wing to accommodate the emergency, not so they won't put them all over the hospital. I don't know the capacity. I don't remember the capacity. I think it's 40 to 50.
So, brother, all right. We know we need economics, brother, but people, health, and lives come first and foremost, beloved brother. You must be minded at all times, people. Lives, health come first. Economics, as long as you have life, there is hope, beloved brother. But you make a transition, that's it in that for our life. That's it for you. Or any other body, brother. So we got to be very, very careful. But I'm all for the borders to open, but don't shove out the door for every place on this planet. In the Caribbean, all islands in the Caribbean, and Guyana in South America, beloved brother. But I have some other things to talk about. Let me ask you before I get off. This the only topic that you're going to touch all night?
Yes, I want to, for now, I want to...
Okay, brother, okay, so brother, continue to listen, keep up the great works, and you will be victorious in your case, brother, that is pending. Pan-Africanism will perish. One love, beloved brother.
One love, my brother. I look forward to that as well. Caller, you're live at 11 before...
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Them cannot find nothing yet, boy. So...
Hello?
It's a rough thing to open border because money is one and dignity is another. So we got to be careful. We can't afford to close and shut off and shut look at the door. We just got to be careful.
the Prime Minister said we can't afford to go down that road there. We want to be open and Samuel, they say same thing, we can't open and shut and open and shut. We got to, when we open, we got to be open for a long time. And you can't, when you open the border, number one, you can't tell who coming in. The people from all over going to be coming. Some of the people going to be coming. And other people going to be coming. Because people going to feel like we're thinking it is a place that they could go. And how much are we going to take so patches? You understand? So are going to take so? Because we can't take nobody family with them because I'm afraid. So right now, me locked down. You understand what it is?
Yes, sir, brother. Yeah.
So I hope you get through with the case soon, boy.
Yeah, thanks, my brother. Thanks.
Yeah, I hope you get through with the case.
Thank you, sir.
Because I looking out for a motorcade with me, you know.
I look forward to that.
Thanks
a lot, my dear brother.
Yeah.
John Paul, you gotta be careful. But caller, you live.
I'm live. Good evening, Dr. Ian Patrick Liburd. How are you doing?
Your humble servant is peaceful, my dear brother. How is the volcano?
Oh, well, I opened it.
You did?
But I only opened one gate. So only one person could pass through at a time.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't want a load of people to rush out the volcano and bring no ash down here.
Okay, my brother.
Now, let me go here now. Now, you know, when things coming out the kitty and nothing going in, you know what will happen soon?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want that to happen. So while we have a little India that we could see in the kitty, we will have to open the borders. Let us open the borders, but we're going to control the rush in those gates. You can't come in a carnival Juve style crowd. No, you have to come in like lanes. We are driving on 2 lane or 4 lane. And we have to increase the people, those workers who do the check-in at the airport. We have, and everyone who coming in, make sure that they bring a certificate from where they're coming from to prove to us that they've been checked and quarantined and everything is okay. If you do not have that passport, then they should not accept you on the flight to come here. So I would suggest that our government send out that information, let them know, hello, if you been affected with the COVID-19, whatever it is, bring a certificate, like I said, to prove to us that you've been tested and you're okay to go. Otherwise than that, we will have to squeeze back in the borders and let it be done one individual at a time. One individual means one plane at a time, maybe for certain hours or a whole day. Patches, if I got any more ideas, I will come back with me second do.
Thank you,
but I have a good calypso for you Thursday. I don't walk out, I don't got the 4 voices.
You need to get a guitar man with you, you know.
Definitely. I want one, man, a good one.
I'll find one for you, my brother.
Okay, brother. All the best so long till I come back.
Thanks a lot. Very sound intervention from Brother Culture. Open the borders but control the crowds, you know. Increase the inspection, I think that's what he's trying to say. My words. And we must have some certification. But if we have certificates, who's going to verify them? That's the question. Caller, you're live.
Hello.
Caller.
Good evening.
Good evening. My dear brother.
How are you, sir?
Humble servant. Your humble servant. How art thou?
I'm giving thanks. We say Tendai Maui. It's another language, but it's the equivalent to say we're giving thanks to the Almighty Father.
Yes, my brother.
Yes. Let me greet you in the presence of the ancestors in whose shoulders I stand. I'm all agree on, and eventually we will have to open our borders because we're not isolated in an island. We're in the archipelago of Caribbean islands, and yes, we have to interact. But I realize that there is some complacency that has crept in amongst our people. And like the CMO said, having to probably, wear a mask, you're protecting yourself from the other person, and the other person having to wear a mask, they are protecting themselves from the other person. So it's our benefit to us as individuals to do the right thing. Because one thing, the fear factor would be on your mind, and you don't want to, increase that fear aspect of I mean, infecting family members when you have to go home if you live with other family members and the like. So in doing this following the prescription, one thing I noticed that caught my attention though is that in the public, at least, President Trump of the United States has finally worn a mask. I saw that, it caught my attention. After listening to Louis Farrakhan on the 4th of July, beckoning him to wear a mask because it wouldn't look good to see a sitting president will, having to succumb to certain, illness and having to pass in office. And so he has, in my mind, he has taken the advice of Louis Farrakhan. Who say world leaders don't listen to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan? So it's finally, because human lives are precious, all and sundry, including the President of the United States. No one will want to wish bad for him. But that's just my take on it. We've gotten complacent, and we really need to. Some of us, the older ones, yes. And a breakdown I would like to know, yes, because of confidentiality, they may not disclose names of those who have recovered. I can agree. But let's get a breakdown as to the age group. Because it is said that certain age groups are more vulnerable too. And so let us get a breakdown on it. I think that will go a long way. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for your input. Yes, open the borders, but enforce the measures. That seemed to be the theme tonight, my Street family.
We are at a point now where we have to learn to live with COVID-19, and we need to look to see how we can mitigate against the risk. And because, as we keep saying, COVID-19 is not going away. We are going to have to learn to live with it. Although we had not had COVID-19 here for 70+ days, it was not a banner that we hang up on a wall saying that we are COVID-free. We are going to continue to have cases because as we continue to ease the relaxation and bring persons back, the easing comes with risk, and these are risks that we'll have to take on because the country cannot stay closed down forever, and we'll have to make sure that we employ the methods to protect ourselves. While we are fighting this virus, we also have to think about our economic survival. We actually have to survive this virus. We just can't build a wall around the country and keep our borders closed forever and survive the virus but die from economic hardship.
Not at all. Caller, you live.
Yes, good evening, Patches.
Good evening, matron of the house. How art thou?
Oh, you're relaxing, you're relaxing.
Okay.
Yes, about the borders.
Oh, you will speak with authority, I'm sure.
You have to take time. The old people say, hurry dog, eat raw corn. This is a very ticklish area. Yes, I know about the economy, but when we are here in a mess in Florida. Every day the rate is going up. It's not dropping. Texas is the same. California, all over, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, all of those places, some of them have to close back. So we have to be very cautious. Take one step at a time. And as I've been hearing people saying, some of our people down there getting careless now, they're not wearing their masks. The same thing happened in Florida. When they opened up, a lot of them went out and they started gathering and they didn't wear their mask. And especially the younger people, they felt it was really older people who would get it. And said, oh, their immunity is up and they can go out and they can do this and they can do that. But we have to be very cautious. Yes, wealth and economy is one thing, but health, if we don't have health, we can't get wealth. So I know I can depend on Dr. Wilkerson and Dr. Hazel because they've been doing a wonderful job. But don't be pressurized and just get up and open up. And as one person said, you can bring in one plane for 1 month, but you have to do it gradually. Don't jump and go and do everything just one time and open up borders just because we want to please people and we want business flowing. We have to take little and live long. We have to know that this is a time, as Dr. Wilkerson said, we have to live with this thing, but we have to be sensible and we have to be cautious. I'm a health person and I am very, very concerned about health. And so here in Florida, we are in a mess, a big, big mess. It's just going up, up, up every day. Sometimes I don't even want to look at the news to see how it's going up because it's really troubling. So just let them ask for wisdom, understanding, guidance, and take one step at a time and don't be in a hurry. For hurry dog, eat rock on.
Yes.
Have a good evening and God bless you.
God bless you as well, Matron. Thanks for your time intervention. Hurry dog, eat rock on, as he said. Be cautious, take time, one step at a time. Caller, what's on your mind at 9 o'clock?
Good night, Patrick.
Good night, my dear. Lydia.
Dumpling is speaking.
Lydia, dumpling manners.
Anyhow, your sister Janet must tell you howdy.
Okay, give her my regards as well. You promised
She
me something.
listening you. She listening you.
Janet, in Anguilla, St. Martin.
St. Martin.
St. Martin.
She give me a message to give you.
Uh-huh.
She gave me a message to give you.
Okay.
She said that do not bring in no more Jamaican, Guyanese, and I forget the other countries she told me. She said they're holding them up and sending them out. So, you do not let us full up of these people. You understand me?
Listening.
So she listening me, because she tell me to deliver the message to she's schoolmate.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So we can't take it no more. We don't have enough. You understand?
Got you.
She said they're deporting out a lot of them. And they were trying to head to come this way. We can't take them. St. Kitts and Nevis can't take them.
Okay.
Patrick, God love you. And you hear what I tell you last week? Keep your eye on some of them because they just chat underneath the arm and meeting you and smiling. You remember when you did win the first time, you know? And when the man said, all right, you saw you nearly shoot up yourself. And when you come down and said the man shake your hand up George Street, you can't believe that I'm telling you what he said. And when you turn off, I said, when you go up, you tell him, don't please, say, don't say you're here. And up to today, the man found me up in him. But anyhow, watch your fear. You hear?
Okay, my dear. You promised to give me a number last week. You forgot?
I can give you on the ear.
Okay, so okay, after the show, give me a call.
She want to talk to you seriously.
I want to talk to her as well. Okay? Thanks.
Yes, I'm going to try to call you.
Okay,
because I got your number.
Okay, my dear.
And I'm going to give it. She want to talk to you back.
Thanks a
My
lot.
big friend in England, she listening. My big friend, he going to call you and see him tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, see you.
Thanks a lot. I'm saying hi to Janet in St. Martin. Haven't seen you in ages, Janet. Hope you are well. Caller, you're live.
How are you?
I am peaceful. You have your equipment on, loud. I want the whole world to hear you.
I'm here, man. I'm here. You good?
Yes, I'm peaceful.
Yes. You see him here. I just want to say, see, my father tell me at an early age, listen, you don't clean, if you not clean ground, if you clean ground, monkey run pan it. But he said, listen, if you not clean the ground, monkey run on it. You clean it, the monkey thank you for clean it. Understand? So you guys have to do what you got to do. My theory was that I want the Prime Minister. I haven't been home for 3 years. And I want to come home, and I'm begging everybody to give the Prime Minister a message, tell him what I want for me. This is just for me as a candidate. But I'm just kidding. Whatever he's going to do. But I'm not coming home to go in quarantine. But whatever you guys going to do, just do it. God will bless you guys. Understand? And to your caller, they will talk about Trump wearing the mask. He said if he wasn't going into water with, he would have never wear a mask because he know what he's doing. I got to do what I got to do. So, Mr. Straight Talk, you take care of yourself and thank it. Be still watching. God bless you. See you when I see you, Straight Talk.
See you when I see you, my dear brother. Let's go back to the lines at 9:05. Caller, what is your view?
Yeah, good night, Patches.
Good night, my dear.
China stayed locked down for 20 years. And when they emerge, this is what we have now. Probably the most industrious and most powerful country in the world. I am not suggesting that we locked down for 20 years, but I am wondering if during this lockdown period, if we are mindful of the things that we can do to improve things, so that when it opens back, we are in a better position. For instance, we are a tourism-oriented country. Are we cleaning up the beaches, the gutways, and, some places that would have been not so beautiful because of garbage and what have you, and so on and so on? Are we doing things, that will really put us in a strong position when we do open up? For instance, are the medics teaching us how to boost our immune system? Are we teaching ourselves what, we can take to have a strong resistance to the virus when it hits the second wave or so on? I'm just trying out a lot of things because there are a lot of things we can do while we are locked down so that when we do open, we are not so vulnerable because we have to open sometime. And it doesn't make sense we continue business as usual, not doing anything. And then when we do open up now, it hits us and we suffer greatly.
Okay.
That's my input, Patches.
Very good input, my dear. Thanks for your input. Good evening, Patches reads this email. Very timely topic. Please continue to remind people that this pandemic is very serious and they need to follow the protocols. Bus drivers and passengers are not wearing masks, and there are many people going around in public who do not seem to be carrying masks. In terms of the border reopening, I think that we might have to be very restrictive on people coming from the USA, which is one of the biggest hotspots. In Europe, borders were open, but not to people from the USA. Read this email. Caller, you're live.
Okay, Patches, thank you. This is my second do. Nurse Garnet, good night Connecticut, good night Jacqueline, and good night Janet in station. Now, Patches, we are our own enemy. We have the weapon that can kill ourselves. And you know what the weapon is? Disobedience to the instruction to follow protocol. Like these lot of people walking the street without the mask. I want them to know this here. Just last week I was listening to BBC in the night and I heard it on the news that one lady said that they had a COVID-19 party and she wanted to see who going to be affected first. And the first one was affected. He get the COVID and he dead. So people, ignorance to the law cannot pay. Patches, 1983 when we first get the information about the great star, I wouldn't call his name, even though he done dead. When we got the information in the Caribbean that there was a disease called HIV/AIDS, a lot of men trash back from sex, and then they drop the guard, and they woke up 20 and they're dead from it. And like today, this corona thing, a lot of people drop the guard. But I want to tell them, when you drop your guard, that is when the enemy, your opponent, gonna catch you and knock you out. But here's make waste. And waste will have no case because there is no base. And if we open our borders in a haste, it will bring disgrace upon the face of the Kittitian and Nividan face. And we got to be careful. We have to be careful, and like the last caller said, my Antigua Tabernacle friend, all we have to do is to build up our immune system as strong as possible to resist that weapon when it hits us. Thank you, Patrick. This is it for me for the night. Take care of yourself. Don't let nobody buy a drink for you. Do like Mr. Bradshaw, open your own drink. No eat nothing from nobody. Thank you, Patrick. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, my
Good night.
brother. Thank you, my brother. Caller, you are live at 9:10.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, Lady Sylvine, Professor Henry.
Just a Sister Sylvine will do.
Sister Sylvine. How about now?
Oh, you're giving God thanks for life, man. Now, we ask some questions. When should we open the border? What plans have we made to open the border? That's the first thing, you know.
True.
In Jamaica, when they brought them in, they didn't just bring them in and allow them to roam Jamaica. Who came in they were restricted to a particular area.
Yes. Negril and is that a place?
Yes, down North Coast.
Yeah.
They could not go into Kingston. So before we start to ask that question, we must first have plans. In terms of the hotels, which hotel would be asking those questions? Who are we planning to bring home? Citizens or visitors? Because these are important questions. If you're going to bring home people who run in from the virus to come home here, that we have to support, is a different ball game, you know. People are now balling about having to pay to be quarantined. So whoever comes must add, especially if you have citizenship abroad. And you're a born citizen, eh? So we got to first work out who are we trying to bring home. And if they come, what are they coming for? Because in some cases, they bring them in to go to specific places. How many hotels do we have that are prepared to hold people for whatever period? They come there, they do their quarantine in there. They get all the entertainment and whatever they need there because you have to protect your native population. So I would like to hear what plans the government have first in terms of protecting your people, because you can't say, oh, you come and they're all over town.
No, the government has not suggested that. It is an open line tonight, just for
I know, but
okay.
Still we need to hear that because,
Yes,
I mean,
okay.
even in Antigua, when they came, they went to the all-inclusive. They went all over St. John's, you know. I think sometimes people get the impression that even in Barbados, you know, when they come in, they quarantine.
I think they have to do a COVID test 74 hours before coming to Barbados.
Right.
And then they need to complete an ED card, which has a series of questions as well connected to COVID-19 symptoms. You know?
Yeah, in some cases they test them again.
That's correct, yeah.
You see, because we have to protect ourselves. Because if like Europe saying, look, you can't come from New York and the USA also, and they have more space and more things to cope. Because are we ready? You know, so we have to work out who are we trying. Are we trying to bring home everybody? Open the border to some people mean everybody run home. And when they reach home, sorry if I'm offending anybody who don't want to go and pop go on their $1,000, eh? All of these things have to be sorted out.
Yes.
Who you bringing in? Where are they going to come from? Where are they coming? You know, you could set them up front. We are not discriminating against our people because our people are our people. But we have had before, they come home, they hear quarantine, stay where they live, and up and down in town. That is why it is people like those who cause the government to have to use other facilities. So we have got to work out first for me, before you pose that question, you should have a plan.
Okay. Got
Right
you.
then.
Got you loud and clear. Yes, there must be plans, there must be protocols. And as you rightly said, the European Union reopened its borders to some 15 countries, but not the virus-stricken United States, for example. When it comes to opening the borders, reads this email, I am against and for it. All of a sudden, the people who leave to make the best life out there now know they are nationals of St. Kitts. Let them get tested out there, and all positive results stay out, and negative ones may return. With the 14 days quarantine to be tested again. Are we to trust these persons who are saying they want to be quarantined in their own home and not to go to the government quarantine facility? Are we to place police by their gate 24 hours? Are they going to pay for that? Or they prefer we, the people of St. Kitts, have them placed under strict quarantine? For I cannot trust them to trust themselves. No. The returning nationals are returning with the COVID and don't want to follow the government rules. They want to be in their own home than walk the streets. The doing that will affect the entire nation. If the borders are open, please do it slowly. Take some in, beg your pardon, a little at a time. If we are to keep this under control, we need to know who are coming in and when, and place them under strict quarantine. The persons on the front line need to take their lives, family and the Federation more serious. Cover up from the head to the toe while taking care of those COVID returning nationals. Our motto shall be, treat everybody like they have it. Wearing the mask is somewhat suffocating. I personally do have a hard time breathing. Therefore, I make my run when in town, as town opens 8 and be out by 9, because I don't like wearing the mask for hours on a straight. Read this email. Caller, okay, Mr. Call. Caller, you alive. Mr. Call as well. Caller, you alive. Hello, caller.
Good night.
Good night, my dear.
Oh, what? God, you didn't want to answer me tonight.
Of course not. Of course not. I'm always happy to hear you. Always happy to hear you.
Okay. Anyway, good night. I hear you talking about opening up the borders.
No,
but I don't know where you are going to open up the borders. To who?
I'm asking your view.
Right,
I am asking your view. You tell me whether we should and to whom.
Oh.
Yes.
Because right now America is full of it. Patches from since the 9th of March, I went nowhere until the 26th of June. And I only went out there because I had a doctor's appointment. And I was all dressed down, covered up, head to face, mask, everything. You understand me? And I ain't moving nowhere. I'm going to give you a joke. In February, my brother died, and my sister wanted me to go to St. Thomas. I said, not me and you, you know. She laughing. I said, no, Helen ain't plan to go. No real until they find a cure, some kind of medication, or some kind of vaccine for this thing. So I don't know what, I mean, I hear you say a lot of people want to come home. And to tell you the truth, this year is my retirement year. And I was coming home to stay. But then I changed my mind. I put it off till next year. And I mightn't even come if they don't find a vaccine. Helen ain't going out this place. I am so scared, frightened, and everything. And now they're saying they're having a second dose. And where I am, it's also a second dose for our city. So I am staying in my house. But if you open the border, you all have to do a lot of protection. Even your workers at the airport have to be protected. And culture pulled the word out of my mouth. I was saying, Remember, we used to have to work with immunization to go to certain countries and things. I think they have to do a test and bring it into show. Bring it into show that they had a COVID, a 1019 test already, and it was negative. I think most of it, because one, some people they want to stay 2 weeks in the island, and it's 2 weeks you have to be quarantined. So if they want, let them bring out certificate to show us that they was negative. You understand? That would be a good idea. And enjoy your night. Good night. And enjoy. But I know you ain't going to see your cousin before next year. God
I look forward to that, my dear. Yes, we understand. But stay safe, stay healthy, my dear.
Yeah, I will. I mean, in my house since the 26th of June.
Okay.
Since I come back from my doctor's appointment, my son goes.
Okay.
And he does the mask up. And when he come back, he has to make sure he spray down.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot. Thanks a lot. Yes, the fear of this virus has not gone away. Matter of fact, it has increased globally. So too has global suffering and death. Alarm bells are still being rung, loud and clear, right across this world. So we really have to be cautious and we open the borders. And as per Sister Sylvine, you have to ensure that we put plans in place, protocols that we have to consider as points of origin. We mentioned Jamaica. I think it's only allowed in the North Coast. It's Negril, and I think it's Port Antonio. And they can't go no other area in Jamaica. Caller, you live. Hello,
Hello?
caller? Yes.
Oh, hey. Hey, Patches.
So,
good night.
my dear
How you
brother,
doing?
I am peaceful, my brother. How are you?
Well, I am here and listening to all that's going on. I was so disappointed about Mrs. Henry raised it with the Jamaican thing, how they have the airport set up, and you have to be tested, and if you are tested positive, you either allow yourself to be quarantined or I guess you catch the next flight out. I think BVI, and I know if things start to do this kind of things, they know the opposition will say. I think in the BVI, if a foreigner is not working, he has to leave the country. So you see the kind of stringent, thing that some countries are doing, just to keep this thing as low as possible. I went to a business place today, and even though they have a big and broad on the door that you won't be allowed to enter without a mask, and if you have to use the hand sanitizer. And while in there shopping, doing some business, 2 people walk inside there, pass the cashier, because you have to pass the cashier to go to the counter, one of those car places. And 2 people come in there, no bandana around the neck, not at all. And they said to me, but look at that now. Nobody there to stop them. That is, we taking this thing as a joke. Because even when you go in some business place, I know how difficult it is to breathe with the mask on. It is really difficult. But people have the mask over their mouth, but they don't have it over their nose. And I mean, I am not telling anybody anything for anybody to tell me where I come from. But, I don't know how much we can educate people and tell people the importance of wearing the mask, because what I read is not old people alone now. It's not us old people. This thing affecting young people also, and young people dying from it. So I feel that people should start taking this thing serious, really, really serious, because as Nurse Garnett said a while ago, if that's her name, we have to open the border at some point in time, but we can't just open the border just like that. We have to make sure that everybody who come in there. I can remember some time ago, during the height of the election, that when the first Haitian come in here the opposition said, I'm not going to say who, because if you listen to who he is, saying that we're going to send them back to a certain depth. I mean, we can't just allow people to come in the place like that. These people got to come in the right way, and if they want to apply for political asylum, if that is something that we have here, then that's fine. But people can't just come in the country like that, especially in this COVID year. I mean, we're doing well, but Patches by, how much longer can we stay shut down? We can't just stay shut down like that, but we can't just open like that either. We have to take precaution, and I like Miss Henry, she mentioned about what Barbados is doing, and I think that's a good thing. We need to check these people when they're coming in. Because when Ross, from what I understand from Ross, is that you are checked before you come here, and if you're found positive, you can't come on the flight. And I believe this is something that if we have to find somewhere to check these people, and if you come in and you don't want to go in a facility where I understand they have to pay, I really don't know how that is, then you catch the next flight out. You catch the next flight out. We have to be really strong and rigid with this thing, because this thing ain't easy. And you hear about some second wave coming, it's frightening, Patches. So this is my little tidbit. I'm not too sure we're going to call back in if somebody says something that I may have to expound on. But until then, I think I'm doing well, you know. I think I'm doing well. Dr. Cameron, me doc, and the lady there, Mrs. Laws, Dr. Laws. I think y'all are doing, everybody's doing well. But we need to be rigid. There's no niceness when you come to us. You need to be rigid. If you come in here, you have to come clean, or go in quarantine, or take the next flight out.
Okay.
Thank you, Patches.
That's you loud and clear, my dear brother. Patches, good night. I disagree with Culture on his point about people coming in with certificates. Culture once lived in the Virgin Islands. He well know all kind of fraudulent stuff takes place in the U.S. I read this email, this other email. Patches, everyone is referring to the borders in terms of the airport, but the borders also include the seaports. What I would say is that when we decide to open the borders, we should start with just the airport and then ease into opening the seaports. And President Trump only decided to wear that mask for that one occasion. He has no plans to continue wearing one, reads that email. So the question is, should we introduce, for example, some form of verifiable certification at our borders or points or border points of entry? How could we verify them, those certificates, in terms of their veracity? Caller, you're live at 9:28.
Patches.
So.
Hello.
Yes, my lord.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I used to rear cattle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you had them cattle with the lumpy skin disease, you put them by themselves because you want to get contaminated with the next one.
Emblematic.
So therefore, when those guys come inside, the government need to get somewhere to put them. If they're doing a good job by quarantining them, we have to continue doing that. We don't expect nobody to come in and work out that they do not want to be quarantined. You must continue the quarantine for the 14 days. I could live with that. I don't care who it is.
Okay, he's gone. Well, that's the view of that particular caller. And in the event of just joining me, my Straight Dog family, we were looking at the possibility, the unavoidable possibility of reopening our borders at some stage in time. And we have there's some countries in the Caribbean opening slowly. Some have opened for several months. The European Union has opened its borders to specific countries. Is that something we ought to do as well, as we plan to reopen the borders? And at some stage, we have to reopen the borders. That's something that's unavoidable, sorry to say, but that is the one thing that will happen. Good night, Patches. I'm a frequent listener to your show. However, I'm aware you have made some changes and they are well needed for this, your new show. However, please allow me to make simple but meaningful contributions, a simple but meaningful contribution to this, your well looked forward to show, the Straight Talk. Please think about letting your first 3 callers be of the following. 1, open with a prayer, make it within a minute. Example, Almighty God, bless this show and host, etc. 2, then a scripture verse, make it within a minute. Example, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And 3, a quote, make it within 1 minute. Example, it is difficult to say what is impossible, for the dream of yesterday is the hope of today and the reality of tomorrow. This will, however, bring continued blessing and respect to this, the #1 talk show in the Federation. Very interesting perspective here, my Straight Dog family. But as we go back to the lines, caller, you are live. Okay, we missed that caller. But in the event you have just joined me, my Straight Dog family, tonight we open what I call the unavoidable discussion with the eventual reopening of our borders. I'm not advancing the view that we should open the borders tomorrow, the day after, the week after, the month after, or even next year, because we have to be extremely cautious and we have to continue protecting our health, as we already know, and I'm sure we all agree that the health of the nation is the wealth of the nation. The COVID-19 has been declared a pandemic. The current situation has been outlined. The situation in St. Kitts here has been outlined. We have been approving the repatriation requests of our nationals. As a matter of fact, the last case was a national that was repatriated. And we have been even satisfying the repatriation requests.
We are aware that returning nationals have been submitting requests for repatriation home. So at present, we have 60 returning nationals in government-designated sites, 32 in St. Kitts, 28 in Nevis.
And we have to accommodate our returning nationals. There are many overseas. We have also to consider the reality of the situation, which is this, as outlined by Dr. Wilkinson as well.
We are at a point now where we have to learn to live with COVID-19, and we need to look to see how we can mitigate against the risk. And because, as we keep saying, COVID-19 is not going away. We are going to have to learn to live with it. Although we had not had COVID-19 here for 70+ days, it was not a banner that we hang up on a wall saying that we are COVID-free. We are going to continue to have cases, because as we continue to ease the relaxation and bring persons back, the easing comes with risk. And these are risks that we'll have to take on, because the country cannot stay closed down forever. And we'll have to make sure that we employ the methods to protect ourselves. While we are fighting this virus, we also have to think about our economic survival. We actually have to survive this virus. We just can't build a wall around the country and keep our borders closed forever and survive the virus but die from economic hardship.
This email reads, my Sherlock family, some people only talk because they have a cavernous mouth. Others like to hear themselves on radio. But sometimes what they enunciate makes absolutely no sense. I've heard and read some of the propaganda that they were touting about, saying Ross students came in and no quarantine, no charge of $500 and on. They're criticizing, saying it's unfair and they don't have none of the facts, talking things what they don't know nothing about. I wonder how they feel now that the rubbish, stupidness and the fake news they were spreading about the students and government were debunked by the authorities. My advice to those misleaders and fake news mongers is simple. Get your facts straight before writing and calling in on radio to spread false information. Mr. Liburd, these people are nothing but busybodies. Reads this email. This email reads, Mr. Larry Vaughan, you have it too, but you will never ever remain bitter because Team Unity is stronger, safer, and has envisioned a brighter future for all of us, including you, Larry. Since Bryant was Keon's representative for Labour back in the 70s, Keon was always problematic with the area of water. Sidney Morris, Palm's representative, was able to enhance the situation significantly. Then under Cedric Liburd, the water problem deteriorated badly, and Eugene Hamilton has and will continue to work on the problem to bring relief to all Keonites and the environs. Larry, you call yourself a singing religious Christian, but you are nothing more than a bitter, labor, mischievous devil. 5 more years, take that. Read this email. And as we perhaps take this other half, I'll allow you to interject your own views outside of the reopening of the borders. I think I've got it loud and clear. So I see that. I'm getting all these emails, and I like to read them. So I'll have to entertain calls outside of the reopening of the borders as well, my Shidok family. Sharon, you said you were expecting the transfer. Yes. And you know why? Because you cannot work with anyone, not even Marcella. Your labor comrade could have tolerated you, because you are the embodiment of mischief-making and confusion. I am not even perturbed with the comments emanating from people like Junie and Jihan, who are telling you to be focused and remain strong, etc. They are hypocrites. The other guy, Dennis Merchant, the former AG, he too seemingly is encouraging your conceitedness and bad behavior to your bosses. But I want to say to Dennis, remember when you were AG and Mrs. Vasquez, your PS, was complained, or PS complained you bitterly to Douglas to have her removed because, according to you, she was not fit and, among other things, was incapable as PS. But Douglas knew better and did not take you on, and as a result, you brought on so much pressure on that woman, so she either resigned or retired. Shame on you, Dennis. Read this email. Let's go back to the lines at 25 before 10. Call you live.
Captain?
Yes, my dear.
Good night again.
Good night.
Let me say something about this water, because I hear a lady on a radio station today saying that, talking about care with the water, and then she say, I check the line and send it, maybe frigate there, Basti or something. I don't know if that will happen. But care having a water problem for you, and that's what our island have to do. People going to have to start to build the house with cisterns. Store your water, a lot of water that we're wasting in tanks. When rain coming, water just making it all over the place. Build your house with cisterns. Now, I have to think wise. When I build in this housing community, build them with cisterns, because every housing community in the Virgin Islands, they got a cistern. Either the basket or fort, there's a water store on it. So when you see hard time when you can't get the water, you got the pump, and the pump water, and that's where you get your water from. You're going to have to find ways to store water, because a lot of water that we're wasting in St. Kitts when we come in. People are in their words, build your house with cisterns. Good night, Patrice.
My dear, we go straight back to the lines. Mr. Caller, Mr. Ken Richards, there you go again. Reads this email. The way you craft and structure that news item about a member of the Electoral Commission said there was political interference at the electoral office is pathetic. Why didn't you tell the public that Jason Hamilton was a Labour representative on the commission and a political activist of Douglas and Labour, and that the nonsense he told you about political interference was strongly refuted and debunked by the supervisor? Let us not forget that he was an incompetent and failed AG, and by the way, Ken, why did you not ask him about the assault and gun charges he was facing the other day? Was there political interference in this case? Why up to now we have not heard anything further? Why are you giving preferential journalistic treatment to some and not others? You remembered how you were hounding down Minister Liburd, asking him some very hard questions about some stupid security breach at the airport, trying desperately to bring him down. You contacted aviation officials regionally along with Dwyer, your partner in crime, to denounce the minister, but you failed miserably, Ken. And Patches is standing stronger than ever. You two grudge, read this email. Caller, you're live at 20 before 10 o'clock.
Okay, that's just me again.
So,
I have to bring this up because every year, me and others would talk about it. I was listening to a program, I think it's today, and I heard Dumpling. I know she's listening. And she, for years now, we've been talking about the memorial for the people who died in Christina. And if you're old enough, you would remember that when they used to have the November memorial for those people who were from St. Kitts who died in the 1 and 2 World Wars. It used to be just where the now post office is. Cenotaph used to be there. Nobody buried there. They moved the cenotaph now at the fourth point, and every November that's where we go to commemorate the death of those people there. Now, Dumpling made a good suggestion, because every time for years we're talking about this memorial, and everybody wanted to know where they could build it. And I was surprised when she said it, because I believe that the little roundabout there by Rams, the roundabout that goes onto Port Dante.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, my brother, yes.
Yeah. I feel that it's about time, and you all should do it within this next 5 years, Build a memorial there. I think that is the most fitting place for it. Because we know that there's a memorial up at the cemetery where I think they had a flood some many years ago. I think maybe that's before it burned. And the souls who drowned there, they were buried there. And also some of the people who died in Christina was buried in that spot. I feel that there is fitting, because when people go out to the cemetery and so forth, they would walk down on the view and see the names. But the one there by the roundabout there by Rams, I feel that's you don't have to have the people buried in the ground there to have something to commemorate, because as you know, the cenotaph, nobody buried down there. And so I feel that this is something, but regards to where you all put it, Patches, it's about time that we in St. Kitts here put up a memorial to represent, to give honor to those people who died and the Christina. I feel it's time. It's been going on now for 50 years. That's a damn long time. And in this administration, I believe that it is something that should be done. That's my input for the rest of the night. Thank you, Patches.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Caller, you are live.
Patches, me Dumpling again. Just so the man said to put it there by the old treasury. Build it right there. And put it there, and everybody come. They got service when it's the 1st of August. It's time enough for them to do it, because up there by the hospital, there by the old hospital where the college we know, they don't put a lot of people there. Even my mother there, my mother, my father, I with all of them there. So we ain't going to, only have to put something low side and then say, here's where the Christina buried. Yeah. But a lot of people don't bury up here, so waiting for by the college, people buried here. But I think they should put it right there, where the short pier was, right where Rock me, right where Cecil Rock me. Put it there, and everybody just come and they take picture and remember some names, and you understand what I mean?
Got you loud and clear, my dear.
Okay, this is Dumpling again. Me ain't got nobody tonight with you, I gotta say.
Dumpling, million manners. Let's go back to the lines at 16 before 10 o'clock. Call you live.
Hello, this is Pat.
Hello?
Yes, let me tell you something. Don't call Sharon Rattan name, because you is the son of a bitch. That's Sharon Rattan. You is the son of a bitch, Patrick.
Take time.
Don't come and burn the dog house now.
Take your time. Don't take it. Are you there?
Patches, let me just clear up something. Italy Dumpling said today me was starting to tackle it today, and they need to put the thing right in front of him, doing Mr. Puntin, and he was starting about name something, and I tell him to name Port Santiago for Port Puntin or Dr. Kennedy Simon. And I want you to name the housing project for Kenwick Georges when you open it. That we were talking about it today. So it's saying Dumpling is me.
Okay.
Today.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. We seem to have had a call cross call, but that lady whoever she is, you know, she needs to take her time and say what she has to say on straight talk. And if you're saying something, just say it, you know, be factual. On straight talk, we talk the facts. We talk truth. But Patches reads this email. There is a racist barbecue vendor in town always attacking Lady Henry whenever she, Mrs. Henry, articulated her message on radio. I want to say to that racist, you are no match for Mrs. Henry. You just cannot debate her, for you are not in her class. My advice to you is to sit at Sylvine's feet and learn. Then try and get your barbecue more succulent and juicy to improve your sale. Don't vex with government if you're not getting sales. I was once a customer but quit because of your hatred for Team Unity, reads this email. This other emails. Last Friday, Win FM linked up with Antigua. I was very surprised when Ken Richards remarked to Peter Wickham, well, all I would say, he is a politician. They were referring to a statement made by Guyana's president where he took the CCJ president to task in respect of their recent decision with the election case. Peter Wickham denounced the president's attack on the CCJ, and all Richards had to say was, well, he's a politician. Well, how come when Harris speaks in Parliament, a town hall meeting, at a press conference, etc., Dwyer and Ken say Harris always speaking like he is on a political rostrum? Well, Ken, isn't Harris a politician just like Granger? Well, I'm glad Harris will remain the politician he is, and we here love and appreciate him. Dr. Harris, bang your mouth wherever you go. Don't let none of them muzzle you. Continue to be yourself, for you are a true politician, and politics must be center stage, reads this email. This other email reads, good evening, Patches. Patches, the South Square Street Mafia is plotting against you. It looked like it's your fault why this, the son who Dougie promised AG and it didn't materialize, even though they went along with the cousin, was paying for votes. Patches, another one who got it in for you. Married land seller, another sink bum is about to burst on them. Warrior, you notice all of them. Lawyers who grudge you falling along the way. Remember who you love. No weapon can be formed against you. God bless you and good night, my family, reads this email. At 12 before the 10 o'clock hour, let's take this other email. Yes, the need to have a certificate upon arrival, reads this email. And then again, people get around the system and will show a certificate stating they are negative. Yes, let them do like the Ross University. Get tested out there, 14 days quarantine here, and get tested again, Patches. We have to care for our citizens. What will happen if it breaks out for a returning national? They're going to say sorry? No, no, no. Government needs to put them people under quarantine. And if you want to make some money, all who can't hear, feel with a payment. Patches, do we have a COVID jail? Good night. Read this email. Let's go back to the lines. I'll call on your line. Hello, caller?
Patches.
Yes.
Good night. It seems as though when you read these things for the Facebook, what you're reading, the listeners, them don't understand what you're reading. When you read the thing about Mr. Kondo, the Honorable Mr. Kondo, the gentleman who does thing news, he twists it how he wants it. Now you was reading something that somebody sending to you about the young lady, Rattan. And you see, you nearly get your head chopped off on the radio. You realize it?
Don't worry about that.
Because they're not listening. If they will listen, they wouldn't get in a haste and fret up themselves and, put themselves in things and then later on they're going sorry. It's something you read it off of the thing. It's not you saying it. It's something somebody's saying, and that is what others can't understand. If they don't understand what is going on and talk to them, just don't call in or don't listen then. Just don't. That's my thing. I might sound wrong, but just don't listen.
Yes.
That's the best thing to do. Don't listen.
Yes.
Because they're not understanding nothing. But anyhow, I don't expect nothing better from them. They're gonna have to face us for 5 more years.
5 more years, my dear.
Better take that.
Okay, my dear.
Yes.
I'm sorry, dear. My fingers were too fast. But yes, you're right. This email read, and I read it again for that caller. I'm sorry it offends, but on Straight Talk, as long as it's not libelous, it's not defamation, we read them. And the email reads, Sharon, I'll take my time with this time around. Sharon, you said you were expecting the transfer. Yes. And you know why? Because you cannot work with anyone, not even Marcelo. The email continues. Your labor comrade could not have tolerated you because you are the embodiment of mischief making and confusion. I am not even perturbed with the comments emanating from people like Junie and Jihan who are telling you to be focused and remain strong, etc. They are hypocrites. The other guy, Dennis Merchant, the former AG, he too seemingly is encouraging your conceitedness and bad behavior to your bosses. But I want to say to Dennis, remember when you were AG and Mrs. Vasquez, your peers, you complained bitterly to Douglas to have her removed because according to you, she was not fit and among other things was incapable as peers. But Douglas knew better and did not take you on. And as a result, you brought on so much pressure on that woman, so she either resigns or retire. Shame on you, Dennis. And these are the views of the emailer and not the views of Straight Talk. And we see nothing wrong with those who's calling you live. Hello, caller. Is there, caller? Okay, we're not hearing that caller, so if you so desire, you can call back. My Straight Talk family, it's 9 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. We looked at reopening our borders, and at the last half an hour, I thought I would just open the lines and entertain some of these emails instead of having them back up on me and entertain your other views as well. And the views of the people are well enunciated. Caller, okay, we missed that call as well. What's happening with the lines now? And we looked at the measures as they relate to the COVID measures, I should say, and recommendations in terms of opening or reopening our borders, which is something that would be unavoidable at some stage in our continuing development. And some suggested have 1 flight per month, and be careful we don't overwhelm the systems. Others suggested we keep our borders tight. Yes, there must be quite a lot of restrictions. Many referred to the local situation where measures are not enforced enough, and some people are not conforming to the protocol. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
I said,
my dear brother.
Oh, my Lord, my God.
The Bible man.
Why? You don't get that book off with I stop you and I listen. I say, what a thing, yeah. That is no weapon that form against itself, Papa, no?
None of them.
No weapon. And I can tell you something, you know. They are going to see you, and they are not going to really recognize you. Because I got to put it on. That is when you go to church and you lift your hands
to the Lord. The Lord hear you. But when you kneel down and you cry, the tears go up into a bottle. So God, remember that. Patrick, remember, are you looking after the poor people in his basket, you know? Are you looking after the 5 long years in the basket? So, you are not going to disappoint them. Not care who go against you. The Bible says, knowing all these things, we are more than conquerors to them that love us. And for them, no weapon, not care what they do. They go kick and brand. No weapon that form against you shall prosper. And they say, promotion neither come from the east nor the west. Promotion comes from God. God set up and God take down. But this is your time. This is your time. And you're getting stronger and stronger. Patrick, have a pleasant night, you hear me? And I don't want to hold up the line. I could say more. So take care of yourself. Good night.
Good night, my dear brother. Good night, my dear brother. Always remind us that God is the absolute judge. You know, and you know when we get before the judgment seat of Christ, we can't bring any witnesses. We have to be there all by yourself, and we may be recompensed for the things that we have done. That is fact. Caller, your life.
Hi, good night, Mr. Liburd. How are you, sir?
I am peaceful, sir. Yourself?
All right. I don't think they should open the borders because the other day Antigua opened the borders and, you know, they had to close that down quickly. So I don't think St. Kitts and Nevis should open the borders. If not, I think that will fathom the dead ducks. You understand? So I don't think that the government should be opening the borders because people don't want to come in here and give us a sickness, and then government has to spend a lot of money, and then what happens? What will happen to us? We're going to fall along like a dead duck. Because me can't take it on. Because millions of people are dead in the world every day, man. Every time I listen to the BBC World, I hear about this quarantine virus. Me can't take it no more.
That's you, my brother. That's you.
All right, thanks.
That's you loud and clear. Should not open the borders. Agree with the caller on the memorial in St. Kitts. There has been one in the Samuel Hunkins Drive in Nevis for years. You can go there and see the names of all those who perish. Read this email. I disagree to name those houses after Kenrick Georges. Nope, not him. They should be named after Patches himself. Read this other email. And those are the views of the emailers. They share the views of Straight Talk and or the host of Straight Talk. Let's go back to the lines at 3 before 10 o'clock as we wind on Caller You Live.
Hi, good night.
Good night, my dear.
I'm calling because, you know what? I feel like Patches is out of line when he calling people name on top of the radio station, because that individual name he called, she used to do his job for him. She's smarter than him, and he resents that. She's not a confusion, and she's somebody's child. And you know what? You guys have to stop calling people and saying ill things about people. Is jealous, Patches jealous. But Patches need to go back over into Burner backyard and relax.
But why don't you say your name?
Why can't say my name?
Yes.
You know who listen.
You what?
You need to stop calling people name and talk bad about them, because
I have made one decision, right, long ago. I will not argue with fools, because I'll have to come down to their level, and you will beat me with experience. But have yourself a wonderful night. You've made your point. Again, I always apply the theory. Never argue with a fool. Lest you have to come down, stoop to their level, and they'll beat you with experience. My Straight Talk family, as we wind down tonight's programming, that lady wants to curse. On Straight Talk, we have intelligible debate. We don't have arguments and fights and slings. If something is defamatory, if something is libelous, then we deal with it. But the fact is, the facts are the facts. And again, as we were saying tonight, my Straight Talk family, we were discussing the reopening of the borders. And what we suggested, and many suggestions came, but there seemed to be general consensus that we should not open the borders at this time, unless we have some control of the crowds, unless we have certification of those who are coming to our country, unless we have plans and protocols in place, or unless we enforce right now our local measures, those who are here, so we can adjust ourselves and predict and protect ourselves and ensure that we are healthy and that we are safe. My Straight Talk family, never mind the distractions. The facts are the facts. Let's take this call and make this my final call for the night. Call your life.
Hi, Patrick. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Shalom.
Shalom.
I'm going to be quick on this one. I think opening the borders is a serious thing to do. What I say, the people that are from the Federation and they are out there and they're not naturalized, if we can get them home as quick as possible, we do that. Who wants to come in this country and not a part of the Federation? They still don't have the right to be in this kind of pandemic. It is serious. We have to protect our health. We need to step into agriculture as serious, as severe, as hard as possible. Put our emphasis to implement as much as we can to extend agricultural ability, fishing, and the plants in the organic bulk system. Let us get into it as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Shalom.
Shalom, my brother. That's the way we're going to end it tonight, my Straight Talk family, because my time is done and I've got to run. I want to thank God, Almighty God, for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank you, the many callers who made your input. I want to thank those who listen. There are those as well on Facebook. There are those on YouTube and other media. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that I say thank you. And this final message reads, the point of us not adhering to the safe practices must not be taken lightly. When we open our borders, the incoming visitors will get the impression that we are not adhering. So the visitors will get the view that they do not have to adhere also. Let's get our house totally in order first. That's the view of that emailer, and that's the way we're going to end it, my Straight Talk family. As I said, my time is done, and I got to run. And so until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet, my Straight Talk family. And remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve, because what you first got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. So until we connect again, bye-bye. And have yourself the best of what's left of tonight. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on.
Lord, I kneel and pray. my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. Now I'm on my way with strength and courage from above. Oh man, I'll feel since God protects me with his love. Strong, pure and true, and so sincere. Companies I'll always take to the Lord in prayer. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe. Because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, I gotta reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, I gotta reach the top somehow.
As you settle into the new normal, it's time to get your customers back. Let them know that you're still in business. During the closure, many of your customers found other places to shop, places with competitive prices, smiling store clerks, and great customer service. It's the new normal, and advertising your business is critical. Call the ZIZ Advertising Department for a solution to bring your customers back home and new ones to your business. At ZIZ, we have guided local businesses to solid ground during challenging times. Let us show you how. Call 465-2621. You'll be glad you did. This message is for every business owner in St. Kitts and Nevis. Jumpstart your business and set yourself apart from your competitors with an advertising solution from ZIZ Radio, ZIZ Television, or Big Wave. The Advertising Solutions Department at ZIZ prides itself on providing client-focused advertising solutions that make